Hey guys, and welcome back to another video with Drakkalan. This is on Kingdom of Heroes Tactics War. This video is going to be directed towards new players, and if you were logging in for the first time or you haven't done your your free Nat 5 giveaway yet, basically they give you a selection of a Nat 5 you want when you start the game after you make it to a certain point. So, based on my opinion, having played the game for a while, I am currently level 63. Hang on, let me move this. So you can see right now I'm level 63. So I've been playing for, I don't know, 2 weeks now, something like that. Quite a bit. So with that time played, I will say the best two heroes. I'm going to give you two options. There's plenty of good Nat 5s. They're all useful in some form or fashion. But the best two that you should start with. Ifrit. Like many of these games, you want to have a good, solid farmer. But if that farmer can double up and be good in other areas, perfect. Ifrit is a perfect example of that. She does continuous damage on her skills. Right, so Flame Slash, skill 1. 70% chance to inflict continuous damage on enemies hit for 2 turns, right? So an S1 with a 2-turn continuous damage. She has S2, finish off. This can block the HP recovery of a target if it has continuous damage on it, so it feeds off of skill 1. It also resets her S3, I'm sorry, her S4, man. It also resets its own cooldown, so if it's killed. And this is very useful, you'll see, when you're doing PvP, because you might one-shot heroes. It's even good in PvE, because she'll hit something, kill it, and then her big hit ability is back up. Her S3, Blade of Hellfire, attacks all enemies, right? So this is an AoE skill. She spins in a circle, basically, and hits everything around her. Does continuous damage and reduces attack of one enemy hit for 1 turn. Additionally, every successful hit reduces the cooldowns of the skill by 1 turn. And when you skill it up, you also get another reduced cooldown. So it's a 3-turn cooldown. And I think it's 4 before you take the cooldown by 1. So she spins around, and that takes it down to like every 2 turns she's doing an AoE attack. So perfect farmer, right? Flame Sword Dance, this is like a passive ability. She hones her blade with prolonged battle. After a fixed amount of turns, Ifrit gains a buff for 1 turn at the start of every turn. After turn 3, she gains increased attack. After turn 7, she additionally gains increased crit rate. So the longer a battle goes on for, the stronger she gets. The way that you're going to want to build Ifrit, early game, you will be given charge runes. Use the charge runes. A little bit later, you're going to be given vampire runes. When you get the vampire runes, put those on her and use her as a farmer. The vampire runes are going to keep her up in PvP. They're also going to keep her up in PvE. She's going to make a great farmer for your units. Right now, I've got a costume on mine, which adds 15 attack and 2 accuracy. Without it, this is her standard look. It's pretty nice. And then that's with the costume. That is bought at the costume shop. You can get those tokens pretty easily. We'll do a different video on that. I think her costume was $250, so I'm pretty close to getting another costume already. And then we'll go into the second hero. So Ifrit is my #1 pick because I do spend money when I play these games, so I'm going to be able to do summons, and I will spend a little bit of money to try to get ahead. So Ifrit was my pick so that I could farm up fodder. As you can see, I'm up to 3 6-stars, about to have a 4th one, which will be not the light fighter that I've got right here. So what is the #2 choice? Or in some people's case, this will probably be #1. If you are PvP oriented, i.e. you want to be the best in the arena, I would pick this guy as your #1 because he can also farm. He just won't be as fast as Ifrit, but he still does a great job of farming while being a great Guild War and PvP monster. That's going to be Mr. Engwe. We just pulled him earlier today in the summoning video, so if you guys want to, check that out. It's very long-winded, I apologize. But Engwe is probably one of the best heroes in this game. I don't see him going away. He's a staple. You see him all over the arena. He's pretty tough to deal with, and you'll see why with his skill set. If we can awaken him, we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, we got enough tokens that we can do it, so let's go ahead and awaken. Alright, so you see the base stats increase when you awaken a hero. So, the only reason, like I said, that he's not #1 is he will not farm as fast as Ifrit. My Ifrit farms, and this is not with amazing runes, but with the vampire runes that we've gotten, she farms 28 to 45 seconds on Conquest 1-1. She can farm, I think it's like 38 to minute 5 on Conquest 7-1. And that's why I ran 1-1, is it's just, she's kind of just speeds through it real quick. So anyway, back to Engwe. So Engwe is a tree hero, that's why him and Ifrit are at odds. whenever you come up to them in PvP. They're also the most selected heroes in the game so far, so it's not just my opinion that says these are the 2 best heroes to choose from. His skill 1, Oncoming Chaos. Attacks enemies within a target area. Successful hits transfer 1 debuff from yourself to enemy's hit. Additionally, you have a 40% chance to provoke enemy's hit for 1 turn. This skill's damage increases when you have greater max HP, and you want to build this guy on HP. You might go speed HP or HP defense, but you definitely want to have him built up on a lot of hit points. That way he can make full advantage of that. At the same time, if you look down, he takes a lot of skill ups, but it increases his effect rate. So the total effect rate goes up by 10%, and his damage goes up. The effect rate would be 50% to provoke, which you'll see if he gets surrounded by 3 or 4 characters, he will control them and have them just, hitting on him instead of hitting on everybody else. That way his DPS can do work. Skill 2. And if you guys aren't familiar with it, the skill target area, this is just telling you where it's going to hit, where it can hit. Nature's Paradox. Attacks enemies within a target area. Successful hits block HP recovery of enemies hit for 2 turns. Additionally, every successful hit has a 30% chance to apply continuous recovery on yourself for 2 turns. Nature's Paradox cooldown is reduced by 1 turn for every successful hit. That continuous recovery, they say it's 30%. I don't know, man. That seems like he's always got continuous recovery on him. And then the cooldown goes down by 1 turn for every successful hit. Again, that provoke brings people in. It's got a very high chance to hit, and he will surround himself, so he's probably going to hit at least 1 person no matter what. And that block HP recovery, that if you're trying to run an Ifrit on Vampire Runes and you're trying to take him down, that means you're not full DPS built, you're only partially DPS built. So you may not be able to deal enough damage to break him on your own, and that's kind of where you hit that stalemate, where he might be able to hold you and your other heroes at, attacking him, and then the rest of his team comes in and cleans you up. Skill 3, King's Wrath. Engwe's base accuracy increases by 10%. Additionally, Engwe has a 35% chance to counterattack when receiving an enemy's melee attack. That counterattack is huge, guys. Like, literally. I know it hurts. And I don't know if it's the oncoming chaos that comes in. I kind of feel like it is. But not having to equip runes for a counterattack. And I have a feeling if you put it Revenge Rune, which is a 2-set rune on him, it's got like 25% bonus, so that's like a 35% chance to go off, and then another 25% chance to go off. And I'm sure only one can activate it at a time, but, I mean, you're almost guaranteed to get a counterattack every time at that point. And then the increased stats, 5%. That means that 10% accuracy is going to go up to a total of 25%, which is going to help him with his provoke, and it's going to help him with his, where is it at? His block HP recovery. Skill 3, this is what you get when you awaken him. Power of Rejuvenation. If Engwe doesn't have any active debuffs, and keep in mind his S1 transfers debuffs off of him, at the end of the turn he recovers 12% of HP lost. If Engwe is below 30%, he gains increased defense for 1 turn. Like I said, this guy is hard to kill if he is built on all HP. So I would build him on a life set, full HP. And if you wanted to, you could maybe throw some speed on him just to try to get him more turns. That way he gets to activate these abilities more often. But I would probably just go full HP with as many speed substats as possible and HP and defense substats as possible. A little bit of accuracy would help with the provokes. Other than that, some honorable mentions if you guys wanted to do things. I think Vivian's probably one of the better healers in the game. Bunny's probably the best stripper in the game. I mean, even her costume sort of supports it. But her skills are definitely, 50% chance to steal 1 buff from each enemy hit, so she hits multiple enemies, has a chance to steal her buffs. And you'll just kind of see that repeated. Skill 2, still 2 buffs. And her S3 at the start of the turn, she removes the debuff on herself. And if she has 3 buffs, all allies gain increased attack for 1 turn. Plus, she's got a leader skill of accuracy. So if you wanted a stripper, Bunny's the way to go. But they aren't like the game-changing heroes. I would definitely say Ifrit, Engwe, the best. Freed, if you wanted a water hero that does damage, he's pretty decent that you can choose from that starting pack. And then Vivian, again, great healer. Only healer you really need in the game. Skill 1, Frost Arrow. She fires an arrow at enemies in target area. 50% chance to increase the glancing rate of enemies hit. This is great for rune farming as well. You'll see when you've got a path you have to follow. It's quest guidelines they tell you to do. It kind of helps you get used to the game and build up your strength at the same time. And you need glancing rate to be on the boss of the rune dungeons, and it helps you guys survive because he hits pretty hard. He can one-tap a lot of heroes. The S2 Hand of Freedom. You and surrounding allies gain a debuff immunity for 1 turn and increase defense for 2 turns. So immunity plus defense, can't go wrong. The cooldown's kind of long. I'll probably skill her up next just to bring that down to 4 turns. That way for arena and other areas, she's better. This one I want to definitely increase the recovery. But every 3 turns, she recovers 35% of max HP of a target ally. If the target has continuous recovering, Healing Hands cooldown is reduced by 2 turns. So this could be on a 1 turn cooldown, considering that S1... Oh, did I lie? That's her Awakening Seal, sorry. The Awakening Seal at the start of the turn, Vivian removes 1 debuff from the ally with the lowest HP percent and grants them continuous recovery for 1 turn. So every other turn, she can activate continuous recovery, which means this Healing Hand will be ready every other turn as well. So she's going to be able to heal quite a bit as long as that continuous recovery is going out. So, again, my opinion, best farmer right now is Ifrit. Best PvP hero, and we're not talking L&Ds. L&Ds, completely different story. But I would roll Ifrit if you want a farmer / DPS. I would roll Vivian if you want a really good healer. If you want one of the best strippers, I would roll Bunny. And if you want the best PvP hero, I would roll for Engwe. Engwe's got a banner right now too, and they give a bunch of crystals early on, so you could go for that, but it's still hit or miss if you're actually going to get them. And other than that, guys, that's what I want to keep this video as close to 10 minutes as possible. So we'll continue to we'll go more in depth on some of these heroes. Probably skip over Engwe and Ifrit, and go more in depth on the others, so we're not talking about the same topic all the time.